Welcome to Voice Rising with Kara Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Kara Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Kara Johnstad.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Voice Rising. Today, we are exploring how we as a humanity can fine-tune our body, mind, spirit system, and also the earth through sound consciousness. With us in studio is a musician, sound healer, gong master, teacher. He's so much more than these few words can even try to explain. Tom Soltron. Tom creates odysseys of sound with the world of nature. He performs and leads retreats and trainings around the world. As a musician, he evokes the spirit of place and captures soundscapes of the lands with his music. And he created peace bell gardens for cities such as Krakow and leads sound ceremonies at locations such as inside the chambers of the Great Pyramid of Giza. So, Tom, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. That's such a nice introduction. Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm sitting in Berlin, and you are sitting, I believe, in Poland, where you have a beautiful retreat center. Yeah.
Yes, in Poland, Porąbka. Yes, exactly.
What I loved about exploring some of your work, and we're going to get deeper into what you do, but I think many people are not even aware of how magical the landscape around the center where you are producing gongs and doing a lot of the sound ceremonies and healings. It looks like one of the most magical places on the planet. So I didn't know these mountains before, and I was I'm actually going to come and visit you someday. So I was very excited to see such a beautiful place. Yeah. So Tom, do you have a, I do a lot of work with voice. Do you have a powerful memory as a kid using your instrument, the voice, in making sounds and storytelling, and is that part of your journey?
Yes, it is part of my journey. I grew up in a Polish family where singing and church were actually daily life.
Mm-hmm.
So my first illumination about the sound and singing and the power of the music was in the church when I was a little boy.
Yeah. And what brought you then in the end? I mean, now you're doing a lot of healing work with sound, and really the intersection between, maybe we could say, sound and medicine, sound mindfulness, healing frequency, vibration. What was a turning point for you? Where was it? Where were you in your life where you said, this is really powerful magic?
Yes, I mean, I was actually it was like year 2000, 2001. I was actually very sick at that time, and my life needed a lot of changes and reconstructions and reviews, and I decided to go a little bit against the conditions that I've been brought up with, and And this all kind of helped me in some way to rediscover and open for the power of the sound, but from very, like, I don't know, different, more mature way, and understanding that simple songs and the words that I'm singing and the power of harmonics is actually working and can change your life. Yeah.
So you, after exploring the sound for yourself, you did heal. You got better, obviously, because this is a long time ago. This
Yes,
is
yes,
17
but
years ago.
yes, it wasn't just it wasn't just singing myself. Of course, there was plenty of changes of the habits and mind kind of programs and living very different life, more orientated towards, like, system goals, career, like from unconscious to conscious or more conscious, let's say, life. But it's hard to kind of describe, because I didn't know what the changes will be like. I just wanted to change. I wanted to live. I wanted to, be more in touch with myself and live myself truly. And when I was a teenager, I play in a punk rock band and I sing songs and I play guitar, and it was such a drive and like powerful thing. And at some point, just life took me to a completely very different place, and I ended up in very kind of opposite the dream that I used to have as a teenager. And I didn't have actually much choice, because doctor kind of pointed me quite strong and say, man, you need to review your life and make some changes, otherwise it's not going to be easy in the next few years. And I decided to go and travel and ask for kind of guidance, and somehow the gong arrived into my life, and the sounds, a very different sound that I expected, because I was always in music and listening music and different sort of music, from the Doors to symphonic music and to the sound of nature. But somehow the gong was the instrument that really spoke to me, and when I heard first time, for me, it was like massive experience. It was like kind of
it went
a game changer in my life.
Skin and bones, right? Skin and bones. It just penetrated your whole. Yes. But it's an interesting question, because sometimes, this is a question. We know that music can touch and can heal, but you're coming, like you said, from a different place. You were also passionate about music, but doing some maybe rock and punk. And are there rhythms and frequencies that can mend us, but also rhythms and frequencies that can destroy us? Do we have to be very attentive when we say, oh, music is great, that we make sure that we're not doing, let's say, I don't know, with a 200 beat per minute, that our heart is going to be flying off so fast that it, is there something
obviously,
to take care of?
Obviously, there will be always something to take care of, especially modern days, when we are bombarded with the music every day, and we are bombarded from radio station, and everything is overpumped. I would say, even like making music in the studio, and I mean, I know a little bit about it, but just the number of the decibels basically that we are exposed to it's very different than it was in the 80s, let's say, and 90s, when everything was still analog and soft and gentle, and when you were finishing the track, you were making -6 dB, and you knew that was like soft entrance into your ears, and then suddenly those days we put everything 0 dB, very strongly pumped, and because of the streaming and the microprocessors that actually this old digitalization of the music that actually in some way, of course, it makes much easier for everybody to access the music, but there is a lot of music that is not made by ourselves. It's just made by technology, by people who kind of, give a hand in one sense of music to everyone and provide it this possibility of making music, recording music. But on the other hand, it's a lot of, I would say, overexposure to the frequencies that are maybe not necessarily kind of gentle to us. And they keep going kind of this beta wave and this tension in the mind rather than provoke to retrospection or to what the music's supposed to be like. It makes you, it's supposed to make you feel good, make you feel like, in the wonderland. And this is the place where you have the intimate space with yourself, with the spirit to kind of reflect and listen for answer, your intuition, and get in touch with yourself. So this kind of music actually doesn't go off the scene. I think now we are kind of refacing again the picture of the medicine, the music as a medicine, and getting slowly into recognition that music is something really different. It's not about numbers. It's not about the frequencies like many people think. And I mean, for me personally, I do respect everyone's belief about, this frequency or that frequency. I feel the frequency itself as a music, as a, sinus wave that through the pressure moved through the space and time, kind of connected with intention, can provoke or create some, very powerful events for the listener and for the creator as well. And I think this is why also we have so many people those days who perform music, who open their heart for the music and their minds, and this is not the music that we learn in school about or we heard from the lips of our teachers, the music that is actually just repeatable pattern, but much more in connection of the, the spontaneous improvisation, like, bards in early, 12th, 13th, 14th century in Europe, for example, where music was like a message, basically, or opening the listener to reflection.
I mean, it became a very, or often we see it more as a commercial industry instead of the healing path that it always has been. And I think when you're talking about frequencies, there's a lot of compression in the music that is played on the radio, which takes away that silence and that space and that emptiness. It's as if we're taught, there can never be a still point. But I do think, similar to you, that it is shifting and it is changing. And you obviously are doing these sound ceremonies all over the world. I believe you just came back from South America. Is that true? Or you're going somewhere?
No, actually we heard just before going to South America and to one of the festival in Panama. Also this has become kind of, those days it's very popular. I would use also the word trendy because it is very trendy in some way. But maybe this is simply what is needed at the moment. And in the year 2000, when I begin and start to play, for example, gong, I heard lots of prophecies. I read a book of, the four ratio of healing and all the Aquarian age that will be very much open for the music, and the frequency will heal humans, and of course that time it sounds all to me very esoteric and mumbo jumbo, and I didn't give really much attention to that as a kind of information that will actually make that shift and change the world, but actually it is. And it is, and it's in so many countries, and over the years, I remember even whatever, I have traveled to a country like Middle East even, and when the first time we went with Gong Master to Dubai, and how difficult all it was, and it could not be provided with single word about, belief system or something. It was just the sound experience. And now, those days, we have people who regularly perform, sound bath in Middle East, for example, and this is like a regular event for everyone, despite what your belief system is, what the religion you are taking part of, or what your lifestyle is. So this is a magic, beyond any idea with the sound that actually everyone around the world in this moment can attend and can benefit and enjoy it. This is really magic and beyond the words and the visions and ideas, especially in those days when the world is so polarized and everybody jumps from one extreme to another extreme, and this is a real power. I really believe this is real power, the music and sound that is beyond any of the beliefs and ideas, and just touch simply each one of us on a much more spiritual level than any of our thoughts, ideas can become spiritual. It's just touching our soul.
I know exactly what you mean. Tom, hold that thought. We're going to take a very small break. The amazing beauty of the gong, sound baths, unity consciousness, and how we are shape-shifting the world through that vibration.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
With happy clients all over the world, Kara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Kara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Kara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.karajohnstad.com and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody. We are back. This is Kara Johnstad. You are at Voice Rising, and today in studio I am with the Gong Master, Tom Soltron, also sound healer, multi-instrumentalist, educator, all those good things. And we just left off about, we're talking about the gong, this powerful instrument. You also are, I think you do have a business partner. You are also creating some amazing gongs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes,
I do have a question. How do you, when you go to the Middle East, and when you go to Asia, and when you do these performances, how in the world do you transport that many gongs? Or do you have to just really hold yourself back and take only a couple?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everything depends about the budget of the event, and sometimes we are able to move our big gongs and, send with the cargo our equipment before the tour or the concert, and sometimes we just take as little as possible because, budget or possibility does not allow us to do this. And, I remember times in 2008 and 2009 where we fly and we had almost 300 kilo over luggage that was still allowed by the airlines to taking, but those days it's not possible anymore, and everything is much more restricted, and so this is a very different time. I remember actually flying to Dubai from Paris, Warsaw, Paris, Dubai, and having in a ski bag 2 double stands for the 4 gongs, that were about 40 kilo. So this is absolutely not possible those days, and that was the time. It was very different.
So Tom, I want to share. You're also producing music tracks. You're also producing meditations and doing beautiful work. I want to share with our listening audience some of your music, and I thought you could tell us a bit more about the composition Earth meditation that you sent over.
Earth meditation. Well, for me, every track actually that I'm making is part of my journey that I had literally in my life, and I use whatever I remember, and I use whatever I feel for the track, and I do love really combine, the natural instruments, and I love electronic as well, and the sounds of nature, and all the sounds of nature that I'm using in my tracks I record myself, traveling to different places, go into nature, and this is one of the greatest gifts. And more with the time, my age, I kind of really enjoy it. Just go to the nature, set the mics up in the forest, and just sit for a couple of hours and just listen. And this is all. I do believe also that one of our great gifts is the movement. That quite often we underestimate, and we need to, with certain issues, then we need to go for yoga or to osteopath or do search for professional help, where we can just simply, move our bodies, let it flow, let it go with the sound, and just on the, very intuitional, simple movement, we can every day move the body, and we don't really need to, use different posture or specific programs. We can just enjoy intuitional movement with the sound. And this is great in kind of meditation for me personally, because I'm very double Sagittarius. I have lots of fire. I love to move, and this is why also probably I create a lot of dancing meditation or movement meditation, where you can literally move your body and be more present, because for many people, movement actually helps people to be in the present and be here and now.
Beautiful. Let's listen to a little bit of the track Earth by Tom Soltron and give people a taste of your music. The track Earth Meditation by Tom Soltron, who's with us in studio today here at Voice Rising. I loved, Tom, that you were talking before we listened into that track about going into the forest or going into the nature and taking your sound equipment and recording what you hear, because suddenly when I listened to the bird songs, I was connecting it with you sitting somewhere on the ground and really carrying those sounds of the birds from somewhere on the earth back to your studio, and it had a very different story for me, and I thank you for that, because I think that a lot of times we hear the bird sounds but we don't necessarily make the next connection that somebody is there listening personally to those birds. Are you still with me? Uh-huh. Okay, I don't hear him in the moment. Ah, okay. All right, so we were listening. We hope to get him back here. We're listening to Tom Soltron's track called Earth. Tom Soltron is a Gong Master. He has a beautiful retreat center in the mountains of Poland, and he actually also, besides doing all these sound ceremonies all over the world, he does trainings for, if you want to explore sound healing. He does, of course, music tracks, and you heard Tom talk about how beautiful it can be just to put on good music and intuitively let your body move and flow with the music. I know this practice also as Latahan, to really allow, it's almost as if you ask your body how your body would like to move instead of thinking that you have to go into certain poses to have a certain effect. You literally tune into your body and say, oh, would my right hand like to float up to the ceiling, or would I like to crawl, or would I like to, drop down to the floor? So let's see if we have Tom back on the line with us. Tom, are you there? Maybe if Christopher, if you hear me in studio, we could give Tom another call. Would we lose our connection then? This is always so exciting because I would love to hear Tom's responses to these questions. Okay, thanks so much. And as we're waiting for Tom to come back into studio, we can just think about, certain things about how sound can affect our bodies. And we, like I was saying at the end of the track, it's a conversation that we're having. And so it's not just the music that's around us. It's the bird song. It's the song of the babbling brook. Where can we tune into the sound of nature and realize that we are connected to the nature? And the more we get back to that, idea of walking barefoot on the ground, the more. I think I hear somebody. Tom, are you back with us?
Hi.
Yes.
Yes,
Tom.
I'm back.
Oh, very good. We thought we lost you. I was having to hold a monologue, which is not easy. Yeah, so Tom, we just listened to Earth Meditation, which is beautiful. The show is, again, 1 hour long, so we hope you can stay with us as long as possible. Yeah, so I was saying, actually, that what I thought was very beautiful listening to the track is that you were saying that you literally go out into the forest and take your equipment with and meditate in the forest and capture the sound of the wind in the trees and the birds. And what I loved about it is I listened to the track this morning, and after you told me only that simple story, suddenly I was actually imagining, where was Tom sitting on which rock in which forest when he captured these birds? Now, you don't have to tell me that now, but it's a beautiful thing that we start bridging where the sounds are coming from. We start bridging it with the stories of our lives, right? And it was lovely for me. It wasn't just a loop or a track or a bought sound. It was imagining that you were taking these sounds back.
Yes, that I'm sitting there with a bunch of microphones and kind of waiting for the moment, and actually I'm the moment to listening.
Yeah, and you.
Well, more I become open myself for the sound. Actually, I start to listen more and more, and the world is full of sound. It's so interesting.
The world is. And how is your perception, Tom? That I think there's a understanding that the closer you get to the equator, the more sound there is, and the furthest you go towards the poles, the quieter and more the silent sound, or the sound of silence is there. Is that your experience?
So far, yes. Actually, so far, more to equator, yes. You get more sounds. I just came back from the North Pole ring, and
wow.
And we were there with my wife for a couple of days, just with Sami people. in the north of Finland, and silence is so full of sounds and, like kind of sparks that are passing through the air, and it's amazing. And actually, more silent space you found, you can listen more, and you can find more within the silence of the sound. So this is very tricky in some way, because we tend to think that silence is very much empty and there is nothing in there. But then a single sound without silence, with the silence, it makes you aware of every single movement, every single action, every single thought that create a ripple in the in the space.
Like a depth. So, there's a depth of sound and a depth of silence.
Yes.
Many people, like we were talking about in the beginning of the show, many people maybe don't realize, because we're listening music often through this compressed state. But if you really allow also even a guitar string to be in a certain silent space, then it has a place to unfold, right? Is it? I mean, do you find that sound, the intensity of sound, is also equal to the intensity of light? That, like, where the equator is, there's much more. Yeah, it's very, very light.
Well, it was very. I can just relate recently to this experience that amongst this very, very deep silence, the single gesture, single thought actually came out as such a big form of activity. It's so interesting, because in the cities or, in the polluted kind of space we are living in the city, for example, we don't hear it. We are not aware of it. We need to go to some session where we can lie down, chill, and kind of, go into the silent sound within us to understand that everything is emotion, everything is action, everything is like, response to the vibration that kind of, enter the earth we are living in, and we are just, giving feedback right away to it. It's so amazing. I mean, in the north, for example, this 1 month period that we are actually been just for 5-6 days, there is no sun at all, because the sun is still below the horizon. But the brightness that you can see is about 5 hours per day. It started 10:30 and it was completely into darkness 2:30. So it was like 5 hours, and you could not distinguish between the sunrise and sunset. But all the harmonics, or all the kind of the colors in between, like like a pink, orange, red. It was all like really amazing, and make me understand that we just see this for such a short time in the place, for example, where I live now, that of course we enjoy every sunset, we enjoy every sunrise, but it's just a short moment. But in that place, in the north of Finland, actually this moment was stretched a couple of hours, so you could see all the different ratios in between, and it's so beautiful and it's so rich. It's like we don't see this, we don't feel this, and therefore we have no perception inside of us that in different places actually we could hear and see different things and get this feedback to this energy that is very different from the places where we live, full of course, the daily light or just polluted light.
No, one feels also a very strong magnetic field in the north. I was in Iceland 2 years ago, and I felt the magnetic so strong, and as if you set your intent, and you can feel the intent being set. I mean, in the city you might say, I need to go buy groceries, and you don't really feel it, but in the north it was like, I was like, wow, you have to be very careful about what you think here, because it can happen that it really gets power behind it with the magnet. We're going to take a small break, Tom. Stay with us after the break, okay? We're going to listen to more of your music and talk a little bit more about your things going on.
Thank you.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Kara Johnstad. You're at Voice Rising, and in studio with me is the Gong Master, multi-instrumentalist, and sound healer. What other names and titles and hats do you wear, Tom? Tom Soltron, who has a wonderful website where you can check out his work. It's Tones of Life, or is it Tone of Life? .com.
Tone of Life.
Toneoflife.com.
Tone of Life.
And
yes.
And Tom works a lot with gongs. Tom, your mission is to carry, or share with me, what is your mission? What is in the moment, what drives you, and what makes you want to wake up and experience and absorb those sunsets and sunrises, and what would you say is your vision for your time here?
Music, definitely. Family, my wife, dogs, community, friends.
Yeah.
Yes, this is all that drives me at the moment.
Beautiful.
But anything that is related to the music from every possible direction, like
beautiful.
Making different instruments, making music, invite other musicians to do something together. Just, gather people together and make music.
Yeah, creative community, right? Let's listen to your track. We're going to listen to a little bit of your track. Your tracks are sometimes a little bit longer, which is great if we have a day-long radio show. But we're going to listen to a couple minutes of your track, and we're going to play the track Air. Okay? So let's just go into Air, and then after that we'll tune back into the conversation on sound healing. Listening to Voice Rising. That was a very small excerpt of the track Air by Mr. Tom Soltron, who's with me in studio today. Tom, tell me one thing, or share with us, what would you like people to understand about the transformational power of sound? What is the one thing that you would love that everybody would experience?
Well, the music will take them to their feelings. And through feeling of the feelings, just simply, experience the transformation of the power of the sound. Because this is actually what's taking place. At least for me, it's not about listening from my mind. It's about feeling the sound and respond to it. And we are created by many different feelings. And recent kind of modern society is really precisely kind of manipulate those feelings, so we are not in touch with some of them. And music simply can reflect us back and help to remember that we are built of feelings. And once we let them go through us and feel them, we can just simply transform ourselves and cure or whatever we need to actually experience into our life.
What is so beautiful about the work that you do is that, or what I perceive to be beautiful, because I would love to experience it. I'd love to get in a car and go sit in that room full of all the instruments and gongs. But, we are harmony, right? And so it sounds as if when we simply allow the harmonics to penetrate our body, that the cells of our body, the things that are out of balance can simply very easily resonate with the environment and come back into balance. It can be that simple. Is that your experience, that if people, let's say, are sick, or if they're not well, or let's say they're having a love trauma? Yeah. Yes,
I'm afraid that this is too simple to be true for many listeners, but this is exactly what it is. And for me, there is nothing more. There is no about, this frequency or that frequency tuned to this planet or that planet. It's all just love, and once embrace it and process it and let go. It's just, we are exposed every day to different conjunctions of the planets and gods and archetypes and energies that are having this internal and external play within us. And maybe this is all that is, that we need to just surrender to them and let them play through us. And once we become aware of it and let them go through, then everything is getting back to the order of the, whatever needs to be in this very moment, because I believe we are not in charge so much. We are not in power. We are just in power to be aware of the moment and surrender to this moment. And this is our gift. And all the mindfulness and all this work about meditation and be present, this is just that. And of course, if you want to believe in all the other aspects of self-creation and, manifesting this or that, is absolutely up to each one of the human being. I just believe it's all love. It doesn't matter, it's right, wrong, good, bad. It's more we let go, is more space to, to enjoy the realm that we are.
To enjoy the ride here on Earth.
Despite how difficult it can be and how traumatic it can be. And, we can say life is already traumatic, but, people live with that and people accept it much more than maybe the recent Earth is offering. And this is what maybe we are expected from the universe, just to surrender and let go to the changes.
Yeah. I mean, what I love always about music is the, well, I think that there are a lot of people that think, what you were saying, there has to be a certain tuning or frequency. And the truth is, if you listen to great music, and it doesn't matter if it's, what is, again, great music, but I mean, if you even think of the classics, you have very low timpanis, and you have high piccolos, and you have lightness, and you have heaviness, and you have tension, and you have dissonance, and you have resolution, and it's all in one piece. And it's okay to be sad and excited at the same time, or it's okay to have a difficult childhood and fall in love and have an ecstatic wedding. It's like it's so sound is able to teach us the complexity and the simplicity at the same time. I think like almost nothing else can do except maybe unconditional love, right? And
Yes, perfectly. This is like during I think of the first break, I hear the commercial of your work with the voice, and just taking action and singing. This is the first step to just freedom. People talk so much about freedom, but what is really the freedom? Freedom is just to, sing what you feel, and
yes.
Since our voices has been taken out from us and taken away by the system and teachers and parents and all this systems that actually put us into the slavery. This is the very basic thing, but like for me it's ultimate. It's like there is nothing above it, because you can just make it so simple, so accessible, and this is what people actually experience on our workshop on 9-day training when they come to learn to play the instrument gong, but after some days realize that playing the gong is actually to playing themselves, to just feel free with themselves about who they are, how they want to sing, whether they have voice or no. Is all of these things are coming from self-judgment. And once we drop the self-judgment, then it's also so easy to just surrender and to flow and accept how, difficult and heavy life can be sometimes. And I think actually in the place where we are living now, is not so difficult, and people used to live in much harder times, and even in the country that I'm watching as a 46-year-old person, and that the times were much more difficult. Now we have a much easier life, but everything seems to be so complicated.
So it can be that can be that simple, right? To sing what we feel in our hearts.
It can be that simple, and
whistle,
of course, yes.
To maybe explore gongs and You also have an instrument that I saw on the homepage, a Peruvian. It looks like a Peruvian bird
Peruvian whistle.
Oh, they look gorgeous.
Yes,
They really look wonderful.
Yes, you know, there is many instruments and many instruments that have some depth that is also like very difficult to understand through the mind. You can just understand through listening and experience.
Tom, I thank you for being with me on the show today. You do amazing work.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I really hope to meet you someday in person. And let's stay in touch and continue your work. And also greetings to your lovely wife. I will also reach out to her and have her on the show. It's really a pleasure. Yeah? Okay, thanks so much.